Today we're going to be checking out a news clip about the good old tension between Canada and the United States that, of course, Trump started.
This one's talking about why there's new data to show that Canadians are avoiding the U.S., which is very interesting because Canada and the U.S. are probably like the two most like accessible countries with each other. Like if there's one country that would visit the U.S. or have like strongest ties to the U.S., it's got to be Canada, right? But
a lot of Americans, the only place they've ever been is Canada.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of interesting tensions recently with the president of the U.S. of A. Donald.
He's making a mockery of all of our alliances. Like, I don't know why he would just be like, yeah, I'm going to start beef with Canada.
There's like a lot of new stuff that's been going on right now, like with like some beef stuff. And it's just crazy to imagine that like you just forget about the fact that he wanted Canada to be the 51st state or whatever like that long ago. That's just like not even in the mind anymore because there's just new stuff going on all the time.
Let's check it out. Here we go.
Mexico this hour looking to strengthen ties as both countries say they're striving to lessen reliance on the United States. The U.S. in turn says it's disappointed in Canada and Canadians' response to its tariffs.
It is very, very difficult to find Canadians who are passionate about the American-Canadian relationship. Okay? You ran a campaign where, you know, it was anti-American, elbows up, me too.
I wonder why. I mean, he's acting like Trump didn't start it. That's the thing I hate about the Trump people is they're just all yes men. They're all, yes, my lord, yes, my lord. Anything they say publicly, they like make sure it's like kissing Trump's boots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like just ignore the bad things he did or reaffirm it and then praise any small little minor win he might have.
Blame every single problem on somebody else.
Yeah.
Always.
You know, it was an anti-American campaign.
Now, even though the president threatened the sovereignty of Canada, and now that somebody from Canada ran on, guys, they're threatening our sovereignty. We can't let this happen. Now they're like, wait, they're anti-America actually?
And it's funny for American people to be like, oh, they're being anti-American? I don't like that. When all Americans care about is America. They're not, Americans aren't just going around being like pro like other countries all the time.
America first is the only important thing.
Yeah.
Canada first? Come on, they should know that they're second. Isn't that what Trump ran on?
Literally what he said.
JP Tasker has been tracking the numbers on how Canadians are choosing to spend their money in the face of the trade war. Okay, JP, let's start with travel. This is one of the things you've been on for a while now. What are we seeing on the travel front?
Yeah, after President Trump launched his trade war and hit us with punishing tariffs, you'll remember Prime Minister Mark Carney said the old relationship with the United States will soon be over. Mm-hmm. Now we have some hard data to suggest that prophecy is coming true. There has been a quantifiable shift with travel on trade, shopping, and culture. Let's start with cross-border travel in particular. It's not just a slump. It's really in free fall. With trips by automobile in August, it was down 35% in August alone. Wow. And when we first started talking about this phenomenon,
who would want to come over when you hear like the horror stories of people getting stopped at the border or arrested?
Yeah, like European tourists getting detained and stuff like that. Like
Canadians have been stopped at the border for like 12 hours.
If you you could get pulled over by a cop for not doing anything wrong, just the cop not knowing the rules and like seeing a Canadian plate and be like, that's not allowed. Then they pull you over, their hands on their gun, ready to do something, and it's just this insanely scary situation that you can just avoid by not going to the U.S.
I mean, literally, Canada has just as beautiful national parks. I don't see any benefit of going to the United States if you're Canadian.
Yeah.
I don't. I really don't.
A land border thing, if you'll remember. Well, now we also have some data on air travel as well. That's down 25% year over year. In August, Air Canada has cut back a number of its U.S. routes or downsize some of the planes on some of the routes to American cities. But that doesn't mean travel demand has dried up. They've actually added 28 international routes to destinations beyond the United States. Canadians still want to travel, They're going to Europe, the Caribbean, and South America instead.
Right, okay, because we saw basically it was cut in half from pre-pandemic numbers, or pretty close to it. And, you know, my kids wanted to go to Disney. We took them to PEI this summer.
That's the only reason? They just want to go to
so
Disney?
that's travel. Let's talk about trade, because this is the thing that is, you know, being directly hit by this. What's the data showing?
Yeah, Canadian exports to the United States have dropped about 2%. That seems like a small figure on paper, but you know this well. That's about $5 billion a hit to exporters in this country, so it's dropped off. But businesses have not wasted any time finding new markets or tapping old ones that maybe have atrophied in the years that we've gone all in on the United States. And when you look at the United Kingdom in particular, it's up 63% this year in terms of the number of exports that are going, the value of those exports going to Great Britain and Northern Ireland. In terms of Europe overall,
Trump is such a fool. I mean, this isn't just Canada. This is happening to every country because he put tariffs on every country.
He decided to put tariffs on every country to bring back the manufacturing jobs to the U.S., but it's going to bring back no jobs, raise the prices for everyone. All the other countries are going to trade with other people instead of the U.S. and destroy the U.S. economy.
It's already happening. Apparently, after the tariffs in Maine, which is known for their lobsters, it's just been sinking. Their lobster sales have just been sinking, and Canadian lobster exports and sales have been going up. Because nobody wants to get lobsters from Maine. They can drive up, or you can go up the coast another 100 miles and suddenly you got Canadian lobsters. So why wouldn't they just get those? It's crazy.
26%. So we're sending many more minerals, resources, technology, infrastructure, agricultural products. It's all up. So as the U.S. craters, or at least dips a little bit here, craters in terms of the dollar amount, they're finding other markets to sell those goods.
It's important to say, though, with the interconnectedness and the scale of trade, that 2% is probably even a whole lot bigger than the 63.
I will say, though, the UK is now our second largest trading partner as a result of all these shifts. They've actually displaced China. So we are sending more goods to the UK than just about any other jurisdiction on Earth, other than, of
Probably
course,
because of less trade between the UK and the US.
Okay, that is an interesting development there. Okay, so we see the trade changes, the travel changes, the change in those flows. What other changes, you know, what consumers are doing?
Yeah, let's dig into some consumer patterns. We've seen some data from American liquor producers. Of course, we've been following this trend for a long time. We now know sales of United States liquor, American liquor, are down 62% in this country as it stands right now, as of the last quarter for Brown-Forman, a major manufacturer, a major producer of alcohol. You'll know them for Jack Daniels, Woodford Reserve Bourbon. They are sounding the alarm. It's been a huge hit to their bottom line. That's why they're missing their quarterly reports. Loblaw, of course, the country's largest grocer, is also seeing a major dip in terms of the sales of U.S. products. They've taken dozens of U.S. products off their shelves and replaced them with Canadian ones because there is a demand for that homegrown content. They've added more than 100 new Canadian suppliers to their supply chain because there is that demand. Let's also talk about books. This is a really interesting one.
So the irony of it that Trump set these tariffs so that everything would be more within the U.S., but now other countries are just being more within their own country than trading with the U.S.
And he did all these tariffs and said, oh, we're bringing back all the jobs to the U.S. without actually having any infrastructure built up to produce these things. So it's just going to magically pop up.
I think it's fine if China has the manufacturing jobs that the U.S. doesn't even have the capabilities to do anymore.
It's really, really crazy. I mean, he just thinks of things in his head, and then he's like, this is a good idea. It makes sense to me in my head.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Surrounded by people that say yes to him. He's yes man.
That's how it is.
I got some data from Indigo, and actually the sales of Canadian authored books this year are up 25% year over year. So there's really this pivot to buying books that are authored by Canadians. We're also seeing that there has been a shift in terms of other cultural mediums too, including Canadian television. I asked CBC Radio Canada for some data on how their programs have been performing. And actually, GEM viewership is up 34% this year in terms of that streaming platform that we have. Murdoch Mystery, Schitt's Creek, Heartland, This Hour has 22 minutes. They're all up double or triple digits compared to what they were at last year.
Okay, you know, it's interesting on the consumer goods losing market share and losing shelf space, and that's tough to get back when things do go back to normal. Exactly. So who knows when things go back to normal? Canadians have responded to the nationalist call. The U.S. does not like what they're seeing from their northern neighbors.
Yeah, you'll remember the ambassador, the U.S. ambassador, P. Huckstra, kind of chastised Canadians, said that we were being nasty for some of these boycott campaigns. Well, he has some fresh comments we want to play for our audience. Have a listen.
Much of that messaging is continuing.
I don't even know who this guy is. I mean, we know who he is, but this is the first time I've ever seen him. He just looks like one of Trump's sycophants, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. He just looks like one of those guys that think he's really cool and be like, yes, Trump, you're the best.
I wonder how accurate we could get if we just went through every lawmaker and labeled them what party they're affiliated with just based off appearance.
But let's look at this guy. He looks like a Trump guy through and through. Like he would just... That's just how it is.
We got to be tough against the Americans. We're not going to buy F-35s. We're going to ban your alcohol. We're going to tell our people not to travel to the United States. I'm sorry, but that's what we see. That doesn't tell me that
one-sided view.
Canada is passionate about this relationship in the same way that we are.
Not passionate. He's also talking about how there was hope for a big deal with Canada that has faded. So as this rhetoric comes from the United States, we are seeing that Canadians, consumers, businesses, they've already made the pivot. They are finding new markets. They are shifting their behaviors. And the federal government is as well, as you well know. And that's why we're seeing Prime Minister Mark Carney in Mexico today. This diversification campaign, it's in full swing.
Yeah, the thousands of people have lost their jobs because of the trade war. They're pretty passionate about what's going on. All right, thank you, JP. We'll see more data from you online.
It's... America gets what it deserves. They voted for Trump. Even though Trump had a abysmal, horrible first term, everybody after 4 years just forgot about that, voted for him again, and America deserves to lose all of their trading partners. They deserve the economy to drop. It's just how it is. And it's going to suck for normal people who are going to lose their jobs and be struggling, but should the rest of the world have to suffer because the American people are stupid?
The dang Trump, you can tell he's just a person who, if he wants something, he tries his hardest to get it no matter what. And if he hurts people along the way, it doesn't matter. And he decided to hurt other countries by getting what he wanted for this tariff deal. And now people are like standing up to him, and he's like, and then that guy is like, they don't want to talk to us anymore.
They're anti-American. And then at the same time, he is trying to bring all of these jobs back to the United States and then deporting huge portions of the huge workforce, the immigrants. He's just getting rid of them. Some of them have documentation, doesn't matter. They don't get a trial. Send them away. And even the illegal immigrants who have lived here for 20 years, they've been working on these places. And states like Iowa and ones that really rely on agriculture, their GDPs are just tanking right now because they're deporting all of the workers.
Yeah, and now it's harder for those people to want to trade with other places now too.
It's so crazy. So where are they going to sell? They can't produce their agricultural products, and now they can't send it to other countries. What are they going to do? It doesn't make any sense, but good thing Canada's fighting back.
Yeah, keep it going.
We're Americans, but we're rooting for the other team in this situation.
Yeah.
See you in the next one. Bye.